Hey everyone, I'm Fred Ranger and I hope you're doing good. In today's video, I'm so happy because I'm putting my hands finally on what other YouTubers and filmmakers have described as the ultimate content creation tool. And I'm talking about the GH5 from Panasonic, Lumix. And at the end of the day, I want to talk about the 5 things that I really like about this camera, what is actually trying to convince me that I need this camera, and some of the stuff that is not so good, and some stuff that you should know before you buy this little baby here. Let's dive into it right now. So the first thing that I really like about the GH5 from Panasonic is obviously the flip out screen. I've been living in the Sony and Fuji world for quite a while now, some years now, and just having the ability to not having to rely on this big rig right there. Actually, you know what? Let me flip it up so I can see this big monitor and then this camera attached to this and that. Just having the ability to just turn the screen and start recording and actually seeing myself and relying on that screen to frame the shot and the exposure. It is a, I would say a liberating moment for someone who's been vlogging and doing some videos all across the world. And that flip out screen is definitely something that is a positive for this camera. The second thing that I really enjoy about this camera is the in-body image stabilization. Again, we have in-body image stabilization on the A7iii that I'm actually using, full frame camera from Sony. I had the Fujifilm X-H1, which also had the IBIS within the camera, but I think nothing beats the IBIS from this camera. It is so smooth. It is actually that smooth that you can use it and do some panning without even having to use a gimbal. It will be so smooth. Some shots actually look like they are on a gimbal. I'm gonna throw some examples on the screen. I am in love with the system. If they can bring that technology to Fuji cameras and Sony cameras, I think they're gonna be in trouble. But for now, they are the world dominators when it comes to the image stabilization. So if you are into having just one camera handheld, I know Joe Allen actually uses the GH5 quite a lot, and it shows. I mean, he's like walking around on train stations and so on and so forth, and it's so smooth, and he's doing some very like cool B-roll shots, and it is so stable. So again, if you are into the most stable footage or you have shaky hands, this camera is definitely for you. The third thing that I really like, it is the formats actually that you can find within the camera. You have some very high bit rate in there. You have some very interesting video features, and you can go all the way up to 180 frames per second for that extra smooth and extra slow footage that you want to put back in your editor and just use as either B-roll or to add some drama to a scene. Although you don't have autofocus when you do high frame rates, it is all available in there, and the quality, the colors of Panasonic are just unprecedented. So I think the image quality coming out of this camera is definitely a plus. So if you are into no compromising when it comes to video features and image quality, you should definitely consider this camera. The last point about the positive side of this camera is the actual grip itself. I mean, for some people, it might be a small item. For me, it is a massive thing because all these small cameras like the X-t3 that I really like for stills, when it comes to video, I like to have a solid grip to the camera, and I don't find that in any other brands than maybe some of the bigger bodies. Like the X-H1 that I had, that was a similar grip actually, and I like that grip, especially again for video, for those stable shots. So I would encourage you to go in store, try it for yourself and feel it, because as you know, it's not just about the internal stuff that's in the camera, but also how you feel shooting with the camera. So that's the positive sides. There are tons of other sides, and I'm sure I'm gonna discover even more positive side as I continue using it for the rest of the month. But at the end of the day, there are some downsides also that I already am identifying as something you should know before you buy the camera. So the first thing is the fact that this camera, as still with the firmware 2.1 or 2.01, still has a horrible, is the word strong enough? Horrible autofocus. I was trying to use it like, a Sony camera. I know it's not the same system, it's phase detect versus face detection, but I was still trying to use it as a vlogging camera like I do with my Sony or with my Fuji, and Most of the time it would find, like let's say my face and the eye, there's actually now in the firmware update a little cross on the eye to show you that it's striking the eye, but it would haunt so much in the background, it would actually trying to acquire focus on something that's in the background. So they haven't fixed, I don't even know if they will be able to fix the autofocus on the GH5 because of, you know, the way it's been built and the way it uses light and contrast to acquire its focus. So it's never been a forte for the GH5 or for Panasonic in general, and I'm sad to report that it's still not up to par with, you know, Canon, Nikon, Sony, Fuji, and so on that have been working so hard, especially Sony, on getting that autofocus to be top class. So for now, this is a manual focus, I would say, product. It will, you know, autofocus if you really have to, but I encourage you to look into that camera in a different way, and it's more of a filmmaker camera where you do your focus yourself. I know there are some tips out there on how to make it a little bit more responsive. The 179-degree variable trick or hack, I tried it. It's better than the original autofocus from the GH5, I guess. But again, it's still not as reliable as the other cameras. The second thing that I'm not sure that I actually like, it is the, and it's my first time in the Micro Four Third world, but the actual lenses, although they're very, very well built, I mean, those are, you know, in partnership with Leica. I'm thinking about this one, this is the 12-60, and this is an original lens, and this is actually pretty cool lens. But when I am working doing YouTube videos or travel videos, I like this bokeh in the background. I know there are some lenses that can offer you some bokeh in the background, but the Micro Four Third format for me is just not replicating the look that I'm trying to get with a full frame camera or even an APS-C sensor camera. So that's something that you should consider also. The sensor is very small, so it also gives you less light. So in very low light situation, you will see more grain. I think if you go, I've been over ISO 800 and 1000, and the image starts to fall apart and not be usable. So that is also something that you should be considering. The weight is also something that you should know about. I mean, I'll put the weight of the GH5 right here, so you can actually compare with your favorite camera brand or something that you're considering buying. After a full day of shoot, it is not the lightest camera. As an example, if you compare with the A6400 or 6500 from Sony, or some of the smaller cameras from Fuji like the X-t3. But overall, I mean, I think I understand why so many YouTubers, content creators, filmmakers have decided to use this camera day in, day out, to rely on it, to use all of its features and functionalities on a daily basis, because at the end of the day, it's all about image quality. That image stabilization is worth 1,000 any other features that you would find in a camera. I think, again, if we can bring that level of stabilization in other camera brands, Panasonic is going to be in trouble, but for now, they are the ultimate player when it comes to stabilization. Couple downsides, but I would recommend actually going and renting one and comparing it with your A7iii or with your Fujifilm, just to see the different look that you can get, just to see if you're cool with the features that this camera packs, and you let me know about it. If you have any questions about the GH5, I am going to actually continue my tests moving forward. I'm going to do some vlogging, I'm going to do some little panning action at the top of the Mont Royal in Montreal, just to, again, to test that stabilization. And I'm going to report back. I'm going to post some videos here on YouTube. For that to happen, actually hit that subscribe button to know when I'm going to be releasing a next video. Hit that bell notification to get a little notification when I do drop this next video. And if you have any questions, ask them down below. If you find this video useful, please give it a thumbs up. I've been Fred Ranger. Enjoy life, be happy, and enjoy your gear. Cheers.